Hi runners and other like-minded people. So today we're talking about an issue which affects many runners and stops them getting out the door day after day and hitting out all of their runs and training sessions, and that is how to fix tight calves. So let's spend the first half of the video talking about the causes. So, reason number one is hydration levels. Now, what I mean by this is your hydration levels are too low and you're not really taking in enough liquid each day. For a child of different ages, you should be taking in different liquid to an adult. And typically speaking, a lot of us don't really hit that and we don't really take enough in. And this affects a lot of us more than others. As it does your water, a lot of people under-speculate what it's all about. Actually, when you take in water, it doesn't just go into your stomach and hydrate your brain. It hydrates your brain, it hydrates your whole body. It goes to all your different muscles as well. So if you're not taking in enough water, your muscles are going to suffer. So you really need to make sure you're hitting the right amount for your age. I'll put the different amounts of water you should drink in litres up on the screen now, and you should have a look at them and really make sure you're hitting them day after day after day. Reason number two is running cold. So a lot of us on a morning, you get up early, just picture this in your head, you get up early in the morning, the last thing on your mind is to spend 10 minutes when it's freezing cold doing a warm-up. Or when it's warm, for the matter of fact, because you're really just not in the mood, just thinking, I just want to get this run done. If it's really cold, you just want to get out there and you just want to get moving really quickly, or listen to your favourite playlist or whatever. It's really tempting to not do that warm-up, but it's absolutely vital that you do this warm-up, because it's really going to make sure that you don't increase your risks of getting all these other problems. There's so many things which can suffer as to running cold. You can get more injuries. It's not great for your mind because you're starting the run feeling very groggy and you don't really feel in the right mindset. Your mind, the part of your mind which gets activated when you start doing exercise, hasn't really been engaged yet, and it just doesn't feel right, and you get problems with your calves, as what this video is all about. Reason number three is too much hill training. Now, it's very tempting to get out there and do all these hill sessions. Although they're difficult, people often do them too much, because I did a video a couple of weeks back on why hill training is so good. But people often go over the top, or they constantly run up and down the same hill over and over again every single day. And that's really, you spend too much time working those calves and it's not good for them at all. So you really need to limit the amount you do them and just spread it out over a week, and try not to do it every day, because when you do it every single day, obviously that's going to cause a lot of problems and it's going to put unnecessary pressure on your calves. Reason number four is too much time on toes. Now, what I mean by this is when you take each step as you're right in your stride on your runs, you're spending all of your time on top of your toes. And what the problem with this is your calves are constantly engaged and they don't have a time to relax. And that's going to cause a lot of problems later down the line. You may not notice it on your first run, but as you go out for every run every day, or maybe on a long run that's 20 k's or longer, you're really going to notice your calves tighten up, and it's really important that you make sure you find a way to release these so you don't get all these problems further down the line in your running journey. And finally, reason number five is having weak calves. Now, as you're out on your runs, the main muscle I think you use when you're out on your runs is your calves. Now, if the muscles are weak, then obviously they're going to suffer. It's a bit like if you work a muscle, you're working a muscle which has not been trained and developed enough to take that force. You really need to make sure you focus on that, because as you do more runs, you may not notice it for your 1k or your 5k or 10k, but as you get further in, you're really going to notice the difference, and it's really vital that you make sure you keep them nice and strong. Now, for the second half of the video, we're going to talk about the preventions, the way you can really prevent this problem, because obviously I've given you a quick overview, but now I'm going to go a deep dive into how you can actually prevent this. So prevention number one is take a drink on your long runs. Now, either this is a handheld water bottle or a pack which you put on your back, is really going to assist you to make sure you don't get problems, because if you keep running and you're getting dehydrated as you're running, this is going to cause issues, because obviously you can drink before, but if it's maybe a really long run or it's very, very warm, you're going to still suffer, and it just increases that risk of you getting issues when you're running, and you may start getting issues with your calves and things, which is obviously what we're trying to avoid here. Personally, when I go out onto my long runs, if I know it's going to be particularly warm, I'll take a hydration pack with me, a little backpack thing, a bit like what you take when you're trail running, with like a tube coming over my shoulder, which you can drink on the go, so I don't really need to stop, because I can't really cope using a handheld bottle. But I will put links to a handheld water bottle and a hydration pack in the description of this video, so you can go check that out and choose what's best for you. Prevention number 2 is make sure you stretch and do strength training regularly. And when I mean regularly, I don't just mean here and there when you have some time. Make time in your week to do this, because it's really important that you get out, or you don't even need to get out, you can do it in your house, on maybe on your rest days, or just pick a day where you do an easy run and then you do this. And don't do them both at the same time, but maybe alternate weeks. So one week you do a session of stretching and another week you do a session of strength training. Now, even though this video is about calves, stretching out your hamstrings is going to help with your calves, because everything in your legs and your back are all linked. So for example, if you have a ball here, a tennis ball, if you roll out your feet, you stand up and you roll out your feet here, that's still going to help with your hamstrings and your calves. It's called myofascial release. There's a muscle or tendon going along the bottom of your foot, and as you roll that out, it releases everything. It's a bit of a pressure point really, and that's going to really help prevent you getting really tight muscles, so make sure you try that too. But yeah, I've got a video on some strength training, and go check that out on my profile, and I'll leave it in the top right hand corner right now, so go check that out as well. Prevention number 3 is make sure you focus on making ground contact with your heels. Now, as you're running, as I was speaking about earlier, I was mentioning about spending too much time on toes. Now, what you need to do is, when you're running, you have quite a good sense of what's going on in your feet and your whole body, so really make sure you tune into it, and when you take each step, make sure you make a conscious effort of your heels making contact at some point. Because imagine this is your calf, and this is your toes, and this is your heel. Your toes come down, and your calf has no time to relax. But when you bring that heel down, that's going to release. So it's a contract release, rather than constantly tight. So you really need to make sure that you bring those heels down, but make sure you only bring those heels down after your toes. Do not bring your heels down before, because then that's going to lead to your heel striking, which is not good for your joints either, because which is going to cause that runner's knee, which I talked about in a couple of videos ago as well. So yeah, or if you're a flat foot striker, make sure that whole foot is making ground contact at some point. The whole surface area of your foot should be making contact at a certain point. Prevention number 4 is get a gait analysis in order for you to get the correct shoes. Now, this is a very, very common reason people get injured. They either overuse shoes or they have the wrong shoes. Now, it's very easy to look at me or look at another YouTube channel and you suggest a shoe, but then you just go and buy it straight away. You should always go to a shop, and obviously that's not very easy at the moment if you're still watching this at current present time. But yeah, at the moment we have the coronavirus and everything going on, and some shops may not open this, but obviously shops are starting to open now, so get down to your local store, shoe shop for running and trainings, and really try and get your gait analysis done. You stand on a machine and they get you on a treadmill and they see how your foot rolls as it comes down and lands, and then they'll look at shoes, and then they'll work out if your foot's neutral, over prognating, under prognating, or anything, and then they will point in the right direction of what the correct shoe is. Prevention number 5 is don't do hill training any more than once every 2 weeks. Now, I mentioned this obviously in the first half of the video, but this is vital that you don't overtrain. and it's very easy to do this. You won't even really notice, and you won't feel that it's the hill training. You won't notice any problems while you're actually doing it, but it's then when you go out for your easy runs you really notice the change. And it's really vital that you really limit that amount, and a lot of training plans which you'll go to often alternate weeks, so you don't have several weeks of hill training all in a row, because obviously it does put a lot of pressure on your calves, especially because when you're doing hill reps, I know I say to bring your heels down, but when you're sprinting up a hill you can't avoid that, so you really need to make sure you alternate weeks and you don't do it several weeks running. And finally, prevention number 6 is foam roll weekly. Now I mean every single week. Now it's very easy to forget about this and say, oh, I'll do it later. When you say later, it never ever happens. Unless you're some superhuman, you'll put it off and it will keep getting put off and it will never really happen. So make sure you set a time every single week and make sure that is your time to get out the door and do it without any excuses, and plan the rest of your week around that. Obviously, certain elements of your running journey, you need to plan that around your daily life, but make sure this foam rolling you plan into your life and make sure it happens, because this is what's going to be able to continue with your running journey and to be able to go the majority of your runs pain. There we have it, guys. Those are my quick fixes to fix your tight calves as a runner. It's very difficult, but if you stick with it and you make sure you do all of these things, I guarantee you that you will not get any problems with your calves. But if you do, get down to your local GP or your sports therapist and get them checked out, because there's obviously quite a serious problem going on. But for your average everyday runner, this should really sort those problems. So make sure you try all of the things which I listed in this video and try them out. You will see a change, and hopefully they will improve, and you can go more of your runs enjoyably, finishing with smile as we always do. So thank you very much everyone for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, share with your friends and family and anyone that you think would enjoy my videos. Please check out my Instagram, my Facebook and my Twitter page, and also my Strava page, and go follow them. And most importantly, above all of that, don't forget to keep running.